Let's start with the bottom line. First, NVIDIA is going to be going down. If you'll stay for the rest of this video, you'll know exactly how far, how potentially, how quick. Again, just potentially. And far more interesting stuff and, well, community announcements that I've sort of been postponing. So the longer you'll stay for this video, the more you will know. Now, let's get into this. One of the things you can see on screen right now is NVIDIA in the current channel moving into the framework of 124.98. In between 124.98 and 146.30. That's kind of the range we're moving within the framework of. You can see both support and resistance have been solidified quite significantly, so retested many times. And so this channel we're currently in is kind of certain, if you will. Now we're moving in this diagonal channel, or rather we're moving into this channel that we're in right now. According to the stochastic RSI, we're having a significant breakdown in momentum, and in fact we already penetrated that 50 range on the daily chart, which signifies a transition into bearish momentum, which means we will shortly be testing 124, at least in terms of the short range. And I would like to highlight how literally just a handful of days ago I've made a video talking about this exact sort of thing, and I was preparing in advance the community. By the way, quick shout out to the community. Definitely do join the $30-$60 tier, whichever one suits you. But here it is. This is what I was looking for. Here it is, the video that I was showing, and it will actually have a link to that video in the video description below, and it will probably have a pop-up video right now giving you an opportunity to click over. Definitely, if you do go and watch that other video, don't forget to come back here and continue and watch the rest of this one so you don't miss out. Now, the market have been moving, or rather staggering kind of sideways, but those who are more attentive would realize that what the market is actually doing is this some sort of head and shoulders formation right here. So that kind of plays very neatly into our prediction with regards to testing lower again, probably potentially to that 128 area, and lower I would probably argue 124 is not that far off and far more likely to be used as that neckline, and then to continue into the shoulder and into the arm, so resulting in a downwards trend, a continuation that we were expecting all along. And well, below and behold, be prepared. Our next support resistance would be roughly at around the 90, something that we warned about. Of course, don't forget we still have the psychological 100. We have 110 right here, and of course we have 118 that we've mentioned multiple times. So we have sort of a set of support and resistance levels that have to be broken on our way down. These, of course, are if you watch the previous videos, you'll know those are internal support and resistance levels that are not too strong. We have identified them multiple times. They've been retested multiple times throughout these recent months. And if you realize what's going on the bigger picture of things and why we're so certain things are going to pan out, or at least the certainty of. Now here I want to show you the bigger sort of problem at hand. Here is your bigger head and shoulders that is about to come to fruition, and the result of would be far a deeper low. Of course, nobody talks about that for the time being. Right now we're highly focused on that near-term support resistance levels, those 110, 100 levels that we spoke and mentioned multiple times, and of course 90 and more so 80. The current range to which the price action is expected to end up breaking down as a bare minimum beyond the expected lows further down the line right now would be the near vicinity of $80, $80 to $90. That is the range to which we're expected to see the price action moving. Now let's see if we see confirmation on the momentum, showing that exact scenario playing out. Well, big surprise to those who are not prepared on the weekly. As you can see, we already have that very momentum coming to an end of sorts, coming to a transition, a crossover, and not surprisingly so, we're sitting exactly on that transitional moment that I was just talking about, right before pivoting downwards and continuing that downwards pressure, resulting in these very prices we just spoke about. That perfectly matches with the bottom of our channel, that 90 area that now starts to drop below the 90 into the 80 area, and so kind of coincide with all of that beautiful stuff. And so we have basically a subset of support and resistances that potentially going to hold off the price action, at least temporarily, so for a retest roughly around these levels. That's it, boys and girls. This is just kind of a little tidbit that I wanted to bring you up to speed and make sure you're all in the know when it comes to NVIDIA. And again, I really would like to highlight how technical analysis prevails over, various expectations, right? As you can see, we had all sorts of noises and sort of, well, just noise, really. All it was just noise and speculation around the earnings call. And yes, the earnings, as you can see, came in perfectly, and very, very good earnings. In fact, with a surprise of almost 10% on the earnings side, revenue side, 1.68. So roughly, let's call it closing on 2. So one way or another, this earnings report was phenomenal, was very, very good. The forward expectations, the forecast was still very positive, and regardless of, if you're gonna look at the price action, sort of, if we zoom in on it, what we're gonna realize that right post the earnings happened. So what ended up happening is exactly what expected, and although the earnings were very, very positive, the result still was negative, just like the technical analysis was implying for us. For this will play out in the first place. So on very good earnings report, while expecting the price action to actually move further higher, instead basically moving from where we were to potentially the ceiling of that resistance, that channel that we were at right now. Instead, we ended up breaking further lower on a good earnings report. You can ask in the community. We were preparing for it, talking about it days in advance. In fact, I would argue months in advance. Of course, there is no advantage in talking about what we ended up seeing right away, right? I'm being Captain Obvious. I know plenty of YouTubers who do that. We don't do that. Believe it or not, we actually have, using these technical analysis skills and tools, we have actual relative, what should maybe not called this way, but it is to some extent predictive abilities, right? And yeah, I definitely highly recommend all of you who are not yet part of the community, join in. We definitely have right now very, very good discounts still. This was meant to be hiked to $100, ended up being hiked only to $60, just to keep it more convenient for people to join to our community. This gives you and grants you up to 2 meetings a week, sometimes extra hangouts, extra community activities, and all sorts of good things, basically ranging from knowing my positions, if it's knowing exactly what positions I have in the market, whatnot, being able to ask me questions, charting 101 tickers, and a whole bunch of other benefits that I'm not going to list off, but just kind of quick glance at our Discord right here. As you can see, we have our members exclusive videos that the community gets. We have our members meetings, advanced, regular, all of the above. Everything is recorded and archived so everybody can watch it later down the line. So this is kind of a little tidbit on how our Discord looks like. Of course, the testimonials of the people who gone through the 1-on-1 Academy. And yeah, I do highly recommend you pick up on that. That will give you a whole skill set that will allow you to analyze the market to the most advanced level, and not to be able to really analyze it on your own, and not to be dependent on various talking heads that tell you a whole bunch of bullshit that serves them and not you at the end of the day. As you can see, technical analysis does work, and works pretty well if you know what you're doing. That's it, boys and girls. I hope to see you on the next one. And that's it. I'm going to leave you with a little tidbit of what the Academy offers. And from here on out, I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.